Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1891B, and today's date is June 12th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Flynn is on the Hunt, Public Awakening Cannot Be Stopped. Father's Day is right around the corner, and one of the best gifts you can give Dad this holiday season is the Patriot flashlight. So what do you get with the Patriot flashlight? Well, you never have to waste money on batteries. It's solar powered. It lights up the darkest of nights. It has life-saving emergency strobe lights. You can charge your phone anywhere. Users have reported this flashlight to be an all-in-one lifesaver. Patriot flashlight is the perfect gift for Dad this holiday. Limited supplies last, and this is the very last chance to get yours at a discount before they sell out. Use code X20 and get 20% off the Patriot flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they have nothing left. And they even brought Don Jr. back in to testify behind closed doors because they really have nothing left. All they have left is the propaganda. All they have left is to call ridiculous witnesses that have nothing to do with anything. And what is happening right now is that they're getting caught up in their lies and they're being exposed. Now, a lot of people are out there saying, oh, we should just declass. Oh, we should just do this. But again, what the Patriots are doing right now, they want to expose all these individuals. They want them to continue on with the propaganda. They want them to continually lie and get caught in their lies because this exposes exactly what they've done and how they've never had anything and how they were just going after Trump just to go after Trump. And the Patriots right now, they're showing America at every turn what their real agenda is. Why do you think when they had John Dean testify in front of the House Judiciary, I think CNN didn't even cover it. Why? Because it was a circus. It was a show. And guess what? They knew it. But they're not stopping. I mean, Adler's out there, and he's saying that, hey, way before the end of the summer, we're going to have Robert Mueller testify before this committee. Way before the end of the summer. Now, this is kind of ridiculous already. They have the Mueller report. They have everything that they need. They have all the evidence. They have everything. They're never going to have him testify out in the open because then the Republicans can ask them questions. The only way that they would ever have Mueller testify is if their staff lawyers are the only individuals allowed to question them. And that tells you something right there and then, that they're nervous and afraid that Jordan, that Collins would ask real hard questions to Mueller, and they don't want this to happen. Maxine Waters is out there. Now, she is struggling just to find anything to use to go after Trump. She said she will continue to investigate Trump because she believed he colluded with the Russian government, even though the Mueller report says no collusion, no obstruction. The Senate says no collusion, no obstruction. The House Judiciary actually investigated and said there was no collusion, no obstruction. But she, in her mind, still believes this. She said, you know, what I don't bother with the speculation about the Senate will or will not do. We don't know what unveils. We don't know whether money laundering becomes very evident. We don't know whether or not collusion based on even what Mueller has done or whatever other information that we discover will be deciding factor among Republicans. So I don't buy the speculation by the talking heads and by the media and others who speculate about what happened with Bill Clinton as opposed to what could happen now with Trump. Really, there's hard evidence, real evidence about certain things about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Actually documented evidence that, let's see, she destroyed 33,000 emails. Doesn't that bother her? Why would someone destroy emails unless they're going to hide something? But she doesn't care about that. What does she care about? She cares about going after Trump. Why? Because those who scream the loudest have the most to lose. Now, it looks like the House Democrats, they are getting sick and tired of Nadler, and they're revolting against him. And certain individuals within that committee, well, they're going to hold Attorney General in civil contempt because Nadler is backing away from a formal vote. Now remember, many of these individuals, they're corrupt. Many of these individuals realize if this moves forward, all these investigations and all this information comes out, they're done for. So they're going to do whatever they possibly can to try to stop all of this. But once again, it's not going to work. The Dems are now pushing new propaganda because they have nothing left. They can't use obstruction because the Mueller report doesn't show obstruction. They can't use Russian collusion because the Mueller report shows no Russian collusion. They can't show anything. So what are they doing? Well, they're trying to make the case, and the mainstream media is helping them. When the president loses in 2020, he will not leave the White House. And if he doesn't leave that White House and there's a Democratic president, I should really say a deep state president, we will prosecute him to the full extent of the law. So what they're really doing right now is they're building this narrative that he's going to lose and he's never going to leave the White House. He's going to stay in there. He's not going to concede, and they're going to go after him. I mean, this is a very nice dream they have. And they're pushing this narrative to show that he already lost in 2020, so people won't vote for him. Wait, didn't they do this back in 2016? Didn't Clinton say when you lose the election, you will concede? Wasn't the mainstream media saying Trump was losing in the polls? Weren't they doing all this before? Yes, they were. They were doing this back in 2016. Guess what? It's not going to work. I mean, this is the same exact thing they've done already. And it's not going to work. Trump tweeted out the following. The fake news has never been more dishonest than it is today. Thank goodness we can fight back on social media. Their new weapon of choice is fake polling, sometimes referred to as suppression polls. They suppressed the numbers, had it in 2016, but this is worse. The fake corrupt news media said they had a leak into polling done by my campaign, which, by the way, and despite the phony and never-ending witch hunt, are the best numbers we've ever had. They reported fake numbers that they made up and don't even exist. We will win again. And they're doing the exact same thing that they did in the 2016 election, making it seem like Trump is losing, making it seem like he won't concede, making it seem like they have the upper hand. They don't have the upper hand. Let's see. Trump has the best statistical economy. His approval numbers are off the charts. Companies are coming back to the United States. He's draining the swamp. He's stopping the migrants from coming into this country. What else is he doing? He's exposing the corruption in government. And people are starting to catch on. People are starting to realize what is really going on. And they know they can't stop this. And since they can't stop it, what do? Well, they resort to censorship. They resort to blocking certain individuals. They make lists up of all the individuals that will not be seen, and they think that this is going to do it. It will not do it. History has proven this over and over and over again. When you hide something from somebody, from the public, they seek it out and they go other places. They don't care that you're hiding it. They want to know the truth. And if they know that this individual or that individual is telling the truth, they will seek them out to find them. Their agenda is not going to work. Now, very interestingly, the Daily Caller News Foundation went after Comey's memos with Daniel Richman. And the FBI must begin producing documents regarding Daniel Richman, the Columbia Law School professor, former FBI Director James Comey, used as a go-between with the press. Now, a federal judge just decided this. Now, remember, Richman is a close friend of the former director who performed work for the Bureau as a special government employee. The Daily Caller News Foundation and Cause of Action Institute are seeking records and communications Richman produced for the FBI to better understand special projects he performed at Comey's direction. Cause of Action Institute sued the FBI on the Daily Caller's News Foundation behalf in August of 2018 to secure production of those documents under the Freedom of Information Act. And we need to go back a little bit in time. Remember, Comey gave Daniel Richman his memos. Then Daniel Richman, he leaked them out to the newspapers. And we need to understand that a lot of the information within these memos, they are classified. So the FBI, they worked very hard to keep James Comey and Daniel Richman's dealings free from public scrutiny. And the Daily Caller, they've been trying for a very long time to get this information, and it looks like we're going to get this information. And we might finally learn the truth about Comey's good friend Richman and just what Comey had him working on. And we'll have to see how this all plays out. Now, the judge, by the way, ordered the parties to set a production schedule by June 28th, and the Bureau will produce 500 records per month. And if you notice, all this information, it is now coming out, not just from the government, but actually from other outlets like Judicial Watch, Daily Caller, and they're all filing Freedom of Information Act requests to get this information. And when the FBI or certain individuals within the Department of Justice stonewall, they end up suing to get this information. And I think these outlets from all over the place, they're going to be hitting very, very hard. And we're going to see information that the outlets have, information that the government has, and this is just going to hit the entire public all at once. Now, I'm not talking about the D-class and everything else, but this is all hitting the public all at once to get them up to speed, to have them ask questions, to awaken them into what really has been going on. And to take this a step further, Trump has been calling out the mainstream media, pointing the finger at Clinton, Comey, the Gang of Eight. And we're getting information and evidence of crimes committed by the Obama administration, and the media is not investigating any of it. Trump tweeted out the following: "Someone should call Obama up. The Obama administration spied on a rival presidential campaign using federal agencies." I mean, that seems like a headline to me. At Tucker Carlson, it will all start coming out, and the witch hunt will end. Presidential harassment. With all these tweets that Trump is putting out, he is actually mapping out what the plan is. If you really start to put all these tweets together, you can see the actual plan. You can see who is involved, what they've been doing, how they violated the laws, how they are treasonous. And he's painting a picture, and news agencies, and I'm not talking about the mainstream media, I'm talking about the alternative media and other outlets, they're picking up on this and using it and digging deeper. It's almost what Q has been doing. It's the same exact thing. And we need to remember something very important. The Patriots, they're just not exposing the deep state. They're exposing the mainstream media at the same time. Every time Trump tweets out, he is showing America and the world that the mainstream media is in line with the deep state. And if they were true journalists, they would be investigating it all. Instead, they are continuing with the witch hunt against Trump, even though the Mueller report says no obstruction, no collusion. Now, Paul Sperry tweeted out the following: breaking, hearing, Nunes asserting investigation of Trump campaign began in late 2015 and not the official FBI line of July 2016, and that multiple people within the FBI and Department of Justice were leaking about the investigation in 2017. Again, what we see happening here is the truth is coming out, and now they're stepping on all their lies. Judicial Watch is out there, and they have just revealed new documents showing the Obama State Department working with the House Minority Whip Steny Hoyer's National Security Advisor, Daniel Silverberg, to work together on the junk Trump Russia documents provided by Fusion GPS Chris Steele. The communications reveal Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland coordinated with Steny Hoyer's advisor, Daniel Silverberg, on the Trump-Russia conspiracy. I mean, every single day we're getting more and more information. And it continually builds. And this is just not, oh, I think this is happening. Judicial Watch actually has the documentation. Judicial Watch actually has the actual paperwork from the government that shows all of this. And he's been collecting, he's been collating, and he's been putting all of this together. And all of this is about to come out. I mean, we're coming down to the wire right now. And it looks like Flynn, remember he fired Cummington and Burling LLP as his legal counsel? The judge tried to stop him, but then said, okay, you can have a new attorney. Well, it's being reported that General Michael Flynn has hired former U.S. Attorney Sidney Powell. Now, this is an excellent development, as Sidney Powell is one of the few legal advocates with a firm grasp on the surrounding dynamic. Additionally, Mrs. Powell is smart to the tricks and corrupt tactics of Andrew Weissman and Robert Mueller. It will likely take several weeks for Powell to review the case and form a plan, an offensive plan to go on the hunt. But given the background of the corrupt FBU activity, hopefully Lieutenant General Michael Flynn and Sidney Powell can mount an incredible offense. And I do believe they will. And they will be going after all these individuals. And I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to see a huge amount of fireworks come out of Flynn's case. And all these individuals that were saying that, oh, look, he lied. Oh, he was talking to Russia. The whole thing is going to be flip-flopped, and all these individuals are going to look like liars themselves. And it does look like the plan is working. Everything that everything the Patriots have been looking at and reporting on, it seems that everything is being exposed now. What was the plan before the D-Class? The OIG sealed indictments were unsealed. Get the public up to speed and expose the deep state and their lies. It is working. People are asking questions. The deep state is getting caught in their lies. Reps are asking questions and asking the public to go back and listen to how these people are lying. Representative Elise Stefanik tweeted out the following. At Representative Adam Schiff didn't believe me today when I told him Comey circumvented Congress by opening an investigation into the Trump campaign. Maybe he'll change his mind once he hears it straight from Comey's mouth. Watch. Take a listen to what happened when Representative Elise Stefanik was going up against Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, out in the open, pretty much called her a liar. Well, take a listen to what really happened and what Comey really said.
Comey testified that he chose not to brief the Gang of Eight on the opening of the counterintelligence investigations. This has been widely reported. This was an open hearing, and we've worked across the aisle on language to be included in the Intel Authorization Act to ensure that any counterintelligence investigation in a presidential campaign is briefed. So I hope you would agree, based upon the testimony of Director Comey, that he circumvented the process. And in our oversight capacity, I agree with you. We need to have an update to make sure that they're following those procedures. But I think we need to strengthen not just the typical way of doing things, but put it in law so that they are required to brief us.
Mr. Stefanik, I would only say that that was not his testimony, that the first time that he was briefing the counterintelligence investigation to us was contemporaneous with his disclosing it to the public.
I did not say that in my statement. Will the gentleman yield? I said days before. So in March of 2017.
And the representative is not accurate, but I cannot go into the timeline, but I can't say that that's not accurate.
I hope the members of the public would go back to Director Comey's testimony and follow the facts and just look at his direct testimony to this committee, which stated that he did not follow the proper protocols and procedures of briefing congressional leadership on the opening of the counterintelligence investigation, and I yield back. If the open investigation began in July and the briefing of congressional leadership only occurred recently, why was there no notification prior to the past month?
I think our decision was it was a matter of such sensitivity that we wouldn't include it in the quarterly briefings.
So when you state our decision, is that your decision? Is that usually your decision what gets briefed in those quarterly updates?
No, it's usually the decision of the head of our counterintelligence division.
And just, again, to get the detailed on the record, why was the decision made not to brief senior congressional leadership until recently, when the investigation had been open since July, a very serious investigation? Why was that decision made to wait months?
Because of the sensitivity of the matter.
So who was lying? Was it Schiff or was it Representative Elise Stefanik? Well, it looks like it was Schiff. He's getting caught up in his lies. He was wrong. But did you catch what she did? She told the public to go back and research and to look at the information. This is very important because if you want to know the truth, you have to dig for it. You can't believe the propaganda from the mainstream media. Now, we know that Trump made a deal with Mexico, and he was out there speaking to the mainstream media, and he was holding a piece of paper, and he was saying that this is the deal that Mexico and the U.S. made. Now, the mainstream media, they went wild, and a lot of people on Twitter and all over the place, they were saying, oh, he was waving a blank piece of paper, there's nothing on it, and it turns out they were all wrong. Ryan Savendra tweeted out the following. Just a few people that spread around the false claim that Trump waved around a blank piece of paper today. Washington Post reporter, Talking Points memo editor, senior advisor to Hillary Clinton, CNN political analyst. Photo of paper in the next tweet? Yep, the paper is clearly not blank. You can see right through it, and you can see print on it. So once again, they're just making things up. Now, it looks like the Department of Justice is once again doing its job. The Patriots are going after child sex predators, and the Department of Justice announced the following. Arrest of almost 1,700 suspected online child sex offenders during a 2-month nationwide operation conducted by Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. The task force identified 308 offenders who either produced child pornography or committed child sexual abuse, and 357 children who had suffered recent, ongoing, or historical sexual abuse or were exploited in production of child pornography. And as you can see, this was an operation called Broken Heart, and they are now capturing these individuals. And this is just the beginning. And as you can see, all these operations, they are moving forward. I mean, think about last time we spoke, they took down a Social Security ID fraud ring up in Oregon. And I don't believe that's the only one. And I believe we're going to see a lot more of this. Now, we know the 2020 elections are getting close, and Tom Fitton, he's discovered something very, very interesting. And I think we knew about this before. And he was being interviewed by Jenna Browder. And he was saying that there are 3.5 million more people that are on U.S. election rolls than are eligible to vote. Take a listen to what he says about these individuals.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. When you look at those registered to vote and then you compare and contrast those numbers with people actually eligible to vote, you come up with the 3.5 million individuals spread out across the 50 states. Now, some states it's worse than others. You know, we sued, for instance, the state of Kentucky. It resulted in a consent decree requiring Kentucky to take reasonable steps to clean up their rolls, because in places like Kentucky, you had significantly larger numbers of people on the rolls than were actually living there and eligible to vote. California and Los Angeles, it's a major issue as well. They didn't seem to be removing anyone from the rolls. And that's what happens. You get dirty voting rolls. You get these extraordinary numbers of people who are on the rolls who shouldn't be there. And that's a recipe potentially for fraud.
And if we go back in time, how many votes did Clinton win by? Seems very suspicious, doesn't it? And now we know why Trump is making a deal with Mexico to stop migrants. Now we know why the wall is going up. Now we know why Trump wants the census questions. Now we know why they want voter ID. Now, very interestingly, Trump has received a beautiful letter from North Korea leader Kim Jong Un. Now, like I've said before, they communicate through letter. This way, the intelligence agencies can't see what is going on. It can't be leaked out to the mainstream media. And we've said this before, Kim Jong Un trusts Trump. Now, what's very interesting is that reporters were asking Trump about the letter and about what is going on, and Trump said something very, very interesting. Let me read part of the transcript here. The president: "So I see that, and I just received a beautiful letter from Kim Jong Un, and I think the relationship is very well, but I appreciate the letter. I saw the information about the CIA with respect to his brother or half-brother, and I would tell him that would not happen under my auspices. That's for sure. I wouldn't let that happen under my auspices. But I just received a beautiful letter from Kim Jong Un. I can't show you the letter, obviously, but it was a very personal, very warm, very nice letter. I appreciate it." Now, what's very interesting about this, and we need to go back in time, we need to understand that Trump helped Kim Jong Un and freed Kim Jong Un from the black site operatives within North Korea. And Trump openly engaged in direct face-to-face talks with Chairman Kim. Essentially, President Trump entered the hostage chamber, and the intelligence agents were cut out of the private discussion. So when Trump said, "I saw the information about the CIA with respect to his brother or half-brother, I would tell him that would not happen under my auspices. That's for sure. I wouldn't let that happen under my auspices." In essence, Trump is saying he has put nothing between himself and Chairman Kim. There is no concern of intelligence compromise on Trump's side of the dynamic. There is no risk from Trump's end, and there's no need for an intermediary. Kim is safe with Trump. So he's reassuring Trump. And actually, this is kind of like a coded message to Kim Jong Un. And like I said, the mainstream media, they don't know what to do with this because they don't understand what is going on. And they're not getting the intelligence to understand what is going on because everything is done privately. And Kim completely trusts Trump. And I don't believe they had the summit yet because they're keeping this going a little bit longer. Trump is using Kim Jong Un as leverage, I believe, with China. And China is trying to use Kim Jong Un as leverage with Trump. But I believe Trump has the upper hand. And what we see happening right now is that Trump has everything waiting in the wings. There are deals already made, plans already completed, but he's holding them back on purpose. And the reason for all of this is, why interfere with an enemy while they're destroying themselves? There's no reason to interfere with them. Let all of it be exposed to the public. Once it's all exposed, it's even easier to knock them down because now you're going to catch them in additional lies. And we already see this happening. Who's in control? The Patriots are in control. And once all this comes out into the open, they'll have no ammunition left. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.